That was Lara, and what about that Moley robotic kitchen, eh? Meanwhile, back here at the Design Museum in London, some of the most beautiful 3D printing I think I've ever seen. Now, these are one artist's suggestion about how we might revive the ancient culture of making death masks. I tell you, I wouldn't mind one of these because it would make me look like I was in the film Alien. And next, we're going to ask what would happen if you scaled that technology right up? What if you were to let it loose on our homes, our cities, and our architecture? Here's Stephen Beckett.
The buildings around us don't look the way they do by accident. The design, the shape, and the structure are all a result of a heady mix between the desires of designers, what we need the buildings to do, and the practical limitations of the materials and building techniques that we've discovered. This is very much the age of concrete, steel, and glass. But with new technology and techniques, what could the next wave of our buildings look like?
Essentially, the building industry is still a 19th century technology. It hasn't really evolved like other disciplines. And if you look now at the speed that cities are growing with, so many people are moving to the cities, but our technology is really lacking behind.
Industrial-scale 3D printing has already been put to use to print full-scale buildings, like this housing project in China. But researchers are now turning to computers to not just create buildings, but to help design them. And the results? Well, they're a little unusual. This is a prototype column that's been 3D printed here at the Bartlett School of Architecture at University College London.
We basically use the computer, we use algorithms to generate these forms for us. And they may look very alien and very strange and very natural, but actually they're highly optimized. So actually these forms attempt to save material and to become more efficient, but at the same time they produce a sort of aesthetics that is very appealing to us as architects, and that really doesn't look like a normal building anymore.
Normal 3D printing creates objects by building up thousands of very thin layers, which you can imagine takes a fair while. The idea here, though, is to save time by printing just what you need. That means rather than printing flat layers, instead build with shapes like pyramids. And the software they've created can take this a step further by figuring out which bits are structurally essential and then getting rid of the rest.
Before computers, we had to do it by hand, right? And now we can create algorithms that make all these calculations for us, but that doesn't mean that we don't design. We just optimize the process much more, and we can create things that we couldn't ever think of before. 3D printing will allow architecture to be much more detailed, much more fine, and also much more efficient. Like if you can 3D print exactly the material or deposit exactly the material that you need in a specific part of the building, it will make it perform much more efficiently.
Before these new techniques can be put to use, though, they first need to be proven to be strong and safe. Case in point, the MX3D Bridge project aims to 3D print a usable steel bridge right in the centre of Amsterdam. Created using similar generative algorithms, though, the project has been held up while the company proves to regulators that the design is structurally sound. The actual bridge now isn't slated to appear until next year. Techniques like these certainly promise to spice up our cities' skylines, but it could still be a while before we see 3D printers on our building sites.